Hi guys, welcome to ANIMEized. This is the English translated version of the novel Throne of Seal. The novel differs slightly from the Chinese animation or donghua. If you want more of these videos, please smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Enjoy and have a blessed day.
Everyone knew that his eternal melody teleportation required some time to recharge, and they all had similar concerns in their minds, but they didn't want to voice them. Cai Er, however, had no such reservations. This was crucial for their next steps and the safety of the group. If something went wrong, they would all be in mortal danger, especially considering the current state of everyone. Lin Xin had suffered backlash from the Spirit Furnace, and longhaochen had suffered from the Flame of Life's backlash. Both had lost a significant portion of their combat abilities. They could only rely on Cai Er and the three of them, but if another strong enemy like the Zombie King appeared, they would be completely overwhelmed, unless Cai Er could fully utilize the Reincarnation Spirit Furnace. Longhaochen pondered and said, "If another powerful undead creature appears, we'll have to interrupt Hao Yue's evolution first. Don't worry, I have the ability to forcibly activate the Eternal Melody and teleport us back to the Tower of Eternity." Upon hearing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Having an escape plan was reassuring. They also couldn't help but admire Longhaochen's careful planning. Longhaochen continued, "It seems that everyone has gained some useful abilities from their new spirit furnaces. Let's share and discuss them quickly, otherwise it might affect our overall combat effectiveness and coordination. You've all witnessed Yating's evolution. She can now speak, and she can fight independently. She's like a light element magician, and she can attach herself to my weapon for attacks when needed. However, it comes at the cost of sacrificing the weapon she attaches to. This attack also consumes Yating's light elemental power, which takes some time to replenish." Everyone, except Cai Er, had seen Yating's significant contributions on the battlefield before, even though her evolution had a significant element of chance. A large part of it was due to the amplification from Dream Paradise and Longhaochen's awakening as a divine knight. But now, she could definitely be considered a first-tier spirit furnace. She was unique. Perhaps Yating's direct attack power and instantaneous attack power couldn't compare to other first-tier spirit furnaces. But don't forget, the stronger the spirit furnace, the more severe the backlash. But what backlash does Yating have? For Longhaochen, she has no backlash at all. And her growth potential is undeniable. She will evolve alongside Longhaochen's growth. Cai Er seems to have figured it out, watching Yating, who is sitting pale and trying to absorb some light elements from the world. She nodded slowly and said, "Yating's evolution is of great significance to our team. In the future, we practically have an additional light mage come priest." Longhaochen said, "What about you? After your spirit furnace synthesis, what abilities did you evolve? You endured so much pain at that time, and it was the fusion of 3 spirit furnaces. The amplification should be significant." When Cai Er heard him mention her spirit furnace synthesis, her pretty face blushed, and she couldn't help but recall the embarrassing scene at that time. She gave him a stern look and said, "You've just seen my spirit furnace synthesis ability. Seen it?" Longhaochen looked at her in confusion. Cai Er nodded and said, "My situation is quite special. It's not so much that 3 spirit furnaces merged, but rather the reincarnation spirit furnace devoured the other 2 spirit furnaces to undergo its own evolution. Now, I can use the power of the reincarnation spirit furnace once a day without suffering any backlash. Because the spirit furnace I obtained in Dream Paradise was the Shadow of Reality spirit furnace, which allows my illusions to have real attack power. After the synthesis, when I use the reincarnation spirit furnace to activate the reincarnation sword for the first time each day, as long as I use the shadow clone skill simultaneously, it's as if my illusion takes the backlash of the spirit furnace for me. Moreover, after the synthesis, the reincarnation spirit furnace allows me to use the 1000 strikes spirit furnace attack once a day through the reincarnation sword." After hearing Cai Er's explanation, the others couldn't help but gasp in amazement. This included Longhaochen. It seemed that, after the synthesis of the 3 spirit furnaces, it didn't bring much enhancement to Cai Er's abilities. She still had her original abilities. However, in reality, her power had increased significantly. As the number 1 spirit furnace in the world today, with no backlash, how terrifying could it be? Moreover, she could use the 1000 strikes spirit furnace attack through the reincarnation sword. In other words, Cai Er could use the reincarnation sword twice a day without suffering any backlash. The reincarnation sword is a true artifact and the number 1 artifact of the Assassin Temple. Apart from the Son of Reincarnation from years ago, no one else has been able to fully unleash its power. Even Longhaochen, who has awakened as a divine knight, wouldn't dare to say he could withstand a blow from Cai Er's reincarnation sword. In terms of overall strength, Cai Er is no longer on par with Longhaochen, but after the synthesis of the 3 spirit furnaces, her explosive power undoubtedly makes her the strongest in the team. Surprisingly, after Cai Er finished speaking, she didn't sit down next to Longhaochen as usual, but walked to the side, When Yuan and Han Yu's expressions became somewhat strange, in their eyes, Cai Er seemed jealous. However, longhaochen knew it wasn't the case. Cai Er was actually feeling shy because of what happened during the Dream Temple Spirit Furnace synthesis. He couldn't help but remember what he had seen and touched. Han Yu, what about you? Longhaochen shook his head forcefully, trying to shake off those thoughts in his mind, and change the topic. Han Yu said, my synthesis of the 2 spirit furnaces went smoothly. I gained a skill called Blessing of Light. When activated, it creates a 5-meter diameter light elemental shield. The defense of this shield is 3 times his own spiritual power, which is equivalent to the defense strength of his Divine Guard block skill. Additionally, while using Blessing of Light, the spiritual power of others within the area, except for those with darkness attributes, will recover at 10 times the normal rate until they are fully restored. Longhaochen's eyes lit up. This ability is fantastic. Wang Yuan also nodded repeatedly. With this ability, our team's spiritual power recovery will greatly improve. Han Yu smiled and continued. Actually, the best part is that it doesn't have any backlash. It suits me well. Otherwise, everyone would end up like Lin Xin after using their spirit furnaces. Longhaochen smiled and said, I just wonder what abilities Shima and Yin Er gained after the fusion of their spirit furnaces. Unfortunately, we couldn't get an extra spirit furnace for Yuan to synthesize. Wang Yuan snorted and said, Captain, you're being greedy. Have you ever seen a demon hunting squad where everyone has a spirit furnace? Our luck this time has been incredible, don't be greedy. Moreover, we've all reached the 6th rank, so when we go back this time, we can truly apply for a martial level demon hunting squad. We must have upgraded to martial level in the shortest possible time. Han Yu chuckled and added, that's right, we've been really lucky. We've also earned quite a few merits this time. When we go back, we can take a break for a while, and won't have to rush into missions. Let's first increase the spiritual power to 5,000 in the 4th and 5th trials on the 1st floor of the Tower of Eternity. Then we can pass the 6th trial. In reality, with their overall strength, they could have already passed the 6th level of the Tower of Eternity, but for the sake of further improving each person's combat abilities, they had been challenging the Red Skeleton in the Tower of Eternity individually. Now that Longhaochen had become a Divine Knight, his strength had greatly increased, and he should be able to defeat the Red Skeleton in a one-on-one situation. While they were talking, suddenly, Longhaochen abruptly turned his head, looking towards the distant horizon. And without hesitation, he shouted, Quick, everyone, to Hao Yue inside the cave. We need to leave here immediately. Just as he spoke, an extremely terrifying pressure slowly emanated from the distance, and it was rapidly intensifying. It felt as if a dark cloud was looming over the city, ready to crush it. In a crisis, decisive action is required to avoid chaos. After Longhaochen first sensed the existence of this terrifying aura, he immediately made a decision. They must leave here, or they would undoubtedly die. The owner of that terrifying aura was at least a 9th rank powerhouse, and it was targeting them, even if it meant Hao Yue couldn't complete its evolution. They had no choice. Everyone had great trust in Longhaochen. Cai Er helped Longhaochen up, Han Yu supported Lin Xin, and the 5 of them quickly ran towards the cave where Hao Yue was. At the same time, a golden light from Longhaochen's chest, belonging to Eternal Melody, began to shine. The cost of forcefully using Eternal Melody was something he hadn't mentioned before, but after the forced teleportation, he would suffer the backlash of Eternal Melody. Not to mention the prolonged weakness from using Flame's spiritual stove, he would also endure a considerable amount of pain. Additionally, Tower of Eternity would lose a significant amount of energy, which would require souls to replenish. However, since Eternal Melody had absorbed a lot of soul energy on the battlefield at Jinan Pass, it could support this forced teleportation without causing severe damage. Hao Yue itself seemed to sense the looming threat, and its body trembled violently for a moment. Then, a strange scene unfolded, with 2 protrusions on its body, one on each side. The one on the left suddenly retracted downward, while the one on the right grew rapidly and shook violently. Just as Longhaochen and the others approached, with a pop, the right protrusion burst open suddenly, and another head emerged from inside. At the same time, Hao Yue's body rapidly grew larger amidst intense tremors, and in the blink of an eye, it exceeded 9 meters in length. Truly, it had become a massive creature. Meanwhile, outside the cave, a dark blue light ball resembling a shooting star was approaching the cave at an astonishing speed. As it drew closer, its size appeared increasingly terrifying. It left a dark blue trail in the sky. After Hao Yue's 4th head emerged, it appeared exceptionally weak, with all 4 large heads hanging low and eyes closed. Hao Yue and Longhaochen communicated telepathically, and it was clear that Hao Yue sensed what Longhaochen intended to do. It forcibly pushed out its 4th head, but the protrusion on the other side retracted by at least half. Otherwise, there might have been a 5th head emerging. A brilliant golden light radiated, illuminating every corner of the cave. The intense radiance instantly enveloped everyone's bodies. And at the same time, Han Yu activated his spirit furnace of light. Protection, covering everyone with a golden shimmering protective barrier. With a flash of golden light, everyone disappeared into the cave. 3 seconds later, the massive dark blue light ball arrived. A terrifying roar shook the crimson and black world violently. The mountain was gone, leaving behind only a massive crater. The golden light shimmered. Longhaochen and the others, along with Hao Yue, appeared outside the Tower of Eternity. Longhaochen let out a gasp, and once again, he coughed up blood. He collapsed into Cai Er's arms. Hao Yue also fell into a state of unconsciousness. Fortunately, the effect of eternal melody persisted, and the vengeful spirits outside the Tower of Eternity dared not approach. Cai Er supported Longhaochen, while Han Yu and Wan Yuanyuan dragged Hao Yue, and only then did everyone return to the Tower of Eternity. Longhaochen was utterly exhausted. Since entering Dream Paradise, his nerves had been on high alert the whole time, followed by continuous battles, awakening as a divine knight, battling the 8th rank zombie king, using Flame's spiritual stove for the first time, shattering light punishment, and finally, using all his strength to forcibly activate eternal melody for teleportation. It could be said that, in the past few days, he had never truly rested, and now his body had reached its limit, so fainting was not a bad thing for him. If he continued like this, he would end up draining his life force. The only good news was that Cai Er had already awakened inside the Tower of Eternity, waiting there in confusion. Sima Xian remained unconscious. Han Yu's light protection effect was still active, surprisingly unaffected by the teleportation. Everyone's spiritual energy was rapidly recovering at an astonishing rate, and it quickly returned to normal. It didn't even affect the Spirit Furnace's ability to recover spiritual energy, including the problem of restoring spiritual energy, other than light attribute, which Tower of Eternity couldn't solve. Truly worthy of being a composite Spirit Furnace, Longhaochen remained unconscious for a full 6 hours before finally waking up, and he still appeared very weak. However, they couldn't afford to stay here any longer, as it would be suspicious if someone from the priest temple came looking for them. A short-term absence could be explained by them wandering in the city, but if it lasted too long, it would be problematic. Of course, returning to Jinan Pass itself would involve a complicated process. Longhaochen had to return to the space where Hao Yue was evolving first, and then return to Jinan Pass through their blood pact. He went back, and then used Tower of Eternity to teleport his companions out. Hao Yue recovered quickly, at least much faster than the weakened Longhaochen. Longhaochen also learned about what had happened to Hao Yue through their mental connection. It turned out that during this time, Hao Yue had consumed a large number of magical crystals, which had continuously boosted its spiritual power, but it was very impure, although it had reached a point where it could evolve. These impure spiritual energies needed to be refined. However, this purification process could only take place in its original space. That's also why Hao Yue had been away for a while this time. After returning to its own space, Hao Yue dug a cave and began self-cultivation, because it wasn't a direct breakthrough. There was no need to worry about being discovered by undead creatures. Having learned from the experience of 3 heads, its strength had improved, and this time, Hao Yue was holding back its full power, intending to wait until all its spiritual power was purified, and then evolve when it was very close to a breakthrough. However, as the saying goes, plans can't keep up with changes. Just as Hao Yue was continuously purifying its spiritual power, Longhaochen's divine knight constitution awakened. His awakening wasn't a problem, but Hao Yue, who had a blood pact with him, was immediately affected. If it had been under normal circumstances, this influence would have been a good thing, as it could boost Hao Yue's strength to some extent, especially Xiao Guang's power. However, because Hao Yue was in the process of refining its spiritual power, and it was very close to evolving itself, this sudden increase in power immediately pushed Hao Yue into a dangerous state of evolution. Originally, Hao Yue attempted to suppress it, because it knew very well its spiritual power hadn't been fully purified yet, and evolving at this point would take too long. Those undead creatures wouldn't give it that time at all. However, after attempting to suppress it for a while, it couldn't contain the accumulated spiritual power within its body, and thus, it began to evolve. At this moment, it had no choice but to seek help from Longhaochen, and could only hope that the undead creatures would arrive later. The final result was clearly less than satisfactory. Longhaochen had to use eternal melody to return. And if Hao Yue left its space during the evolution, it could be in danger to its life. Helplessly, it had to give up on a complete evolution, opting to evolve only halfway, using purified spiritual power to evolve its 4th head. At the same time, it abandoned all the impure spiritual power, which is why it was so weak at that time, and one side of its body appeared shrunken. But no matter what, Hao Yue's evolution was still halfway completed, and Longhaochen named its 4th head Xiaolan. With this evolution, Hao Yue's 4 heads had some differences compared to before, and each head had certain changes in its protrusions. Some resembled antlers, some were like bull horns. The 4 heads were all distinct. But the most unique was the newly born Xiaolan, with its head resembling a lizard's, and the protrusions on it surprisingly resembled butterfly shapes. Moreover, perhaps due to the force breakthrough, its eyes appeared somewhat gentler, as if it had suffered from malnutrition. With the completion of the forced evolution, Hao Yue's scales became thicker, with a faint purple glow emanating from them, and its long, thick tail had a conical protrusion at the tip. Even as it lay there, an aura of intimidation emanated from it. According to LongHaoChen's estimation, Hao Yue had now reached the 6th rank, and it was a 6th rank with 4 attributes. Xiaolan's attribute was water. Hao Yue, do you think there might be undead creatures waiting for us over there? LongHaoChen asked Hao Yue. All 4 of Hao Yue's heads closed their eyes simultaneously. And after a moment, they opened their eyes and shook their heads at LongHaoChen. At the same time, LongHaoChen also sensed Hao Yue's anger. Hao Yue's anger was quite intense, to the point that it sent a shiver down LongHaoChen's spine. In Hao Yue's anger, there was also a strong sense of contempt and humiliation. Contempt for the undead creatures, and the humiliation of them posing a threat to its life. LongHaoChen patted Xiao Guang's head and smiled. Don't be angry. When we become stronger in the future, we won't fear them anymore. This time, it's all my fault. If my constitution hadn't suddenly awakened, I wouldn't have caused you so much trouble. Hao Yue's angry emotions quickly calmed down under LongHaoChen's consolation. And all 4 heads leaned towards him, gently nuzzling him. Their gazes also became gentle once again. Since there's no danger over there, let's go. LongHaoChen activated Eternal Melody with Hao Yue, returning to the place they had left earlier. When the golden light flashed, and their vision cleared, LongHaoChen couldn't help but inhale sharply. He and Hao Yue appeared in a crater deeper than 30 meters, with a diameter of several hundred meters. The surroundings were all terrifyingly black. The original mountain and caves had completely disappeared. However, just as Hao Yue had sensed earlier, there were no undead creatures to be found here anymore. All 4 of Hao Yue's heads lifted simultaneously, exuding an invisible aura of majesty. Roar! All 4 heads simultaneously let out a loud roar, as if venting their emotions, and as if to say, I'll be back. A purple light flashed, enveloping both it and LongHaoChen. And the contract teleportation activated, bringing them back to the underground chamber of the priest temple. LongHaoChen didn't waste any time, and teleported all his companions back from the Tower of Eternity. After completing these tasks, he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. This trip to Jinan Pass was incredibly perilous, whether it was for LongHaoChen personally, or for their commander level number 21 demon hunting squad. They all faced unprecedented dangers. It was even more dangerous than when they had ventured deep into the demon clan's territory for the Cave of Fearful Wailing mission. However, at the same time, their rewards were also substantial. They received meritorious rewards. But more importantly, they obtained spirit furnaces. Each of them now had their own spirit furnace, except for Wang Yuan, and the others had completed the synthesis of their spirit furnaces. Shima Xian finally woke up from his coma on the 3rd day after their return. Though his injuries were severe, he managed to recover thanks to the treatments from Han Yu and Yating. This guy gave his synthesized spirit furnace a domineering name, called it the Purple Mirage Divine Thunder. Spirit Furnace. Jinin Air's synthesized spirit furnace is called the Time-Stacking Spirit Furnace. Both of their spirit furnaces have unique characteristics, and they are both extremely powerful. As for their power, it will become evident in future battles. After this battle, Commander level number 21 Demon Hunting Squad has completely upgraded their overall strength to the level of Martial, and it's a quite formidable martial level at that. Large reinforcements from the Alliance have finally arrived, declaring that the crisis at Jinan Pass has been completely resolved. The Demon Clan's army has already retreated. On the surface, it appears that the Demon Clan suffered heavy losses, with several Demon God successors losing their lives. But is that the whole story? At least LongHaoChen doesn't think so. This can be seen from his agreement with Yi Xiaolei. As for the details of the agreement, not even his teammates know. Is Captain Long here? The sound of knocking on the door rang out, startling LongHaoChen, who had been contemplating various events within Dream Paradise. After 7 days of rest and recuperation, his condition has returned to normal. The weakness from using Radiant Spirit has also disappeared. He opened the door, welcoming Zhang FangFang, who had come to visit. Brother Zhang, no need to be so formal. You're a senior, just call me by my name, LongHaoChen said with a smile. Zhang FangFang sat down on the sofa and smiled. All right, then I'll call you HaoChen. HaoChen, do you have any plans for the future? LongHaoChen shook his head and said, We plan to return to Holy City for some rest. You know, we made quite a harvest this time, but since some of our abilities are newly acquired, we need to work together to fully unleash our strongest combat potential. Additionally, we plan to return to the Holy Alliance and promote to the rank of Martial-level Demon Hunting Squad and take on more challenging missions. Zhang FangFang didn't hide his envy. You guys are truly the most talented Demon Hunting Squad I've ever seen. If I could choose, I'd even be willing to be your squire like Han Yu. LongHaoChen chuckled and said, Brother Zhang, you're joking. This time, you successfully reached the 7th rank, and your team also earned some merits. Promoting to martial level should be easy for you. By the way, I heard that when someone in the team reaches a higher rank, they get merit reductions. When promoting to Demon Hunting Squad, right? Zhang FangFang smiled wryly and said, "Indeed, when it comes to bad luck, no one can beat our team. I don't even dare to hope for merit-based promotions. Fortunately, we benefited from your success this time, which allowed us to break through the bottleneck and reach the 7th rank. We can finally promote to martial level. HaoChen, I won't say thank you. In the future, if you need our help, don't hesitate to ask. I won't refuse any request within my abilities. Alright." longhaochen also didn't hesitate to accept, giving a straightforward reply. Mutual assistance among demon hunting squads is quite normal. Zhang FangFang continued, "Since you're also returning to Holy City, why don't we depart together? We're also going to promote directly." "That sounds good. Shall we leave together tomorrow?" Getting a positive response from longhaochen, Zhang FangFang was visibly delighted. After chatting for a while, he took his leave. Longhaochen closed the door, and Caier, who had been practicing in the inner room, came out. With a slight smile, Caier said, "Did you figure it out?" Longhaochen was momentarily puzzled. "Figure out what?" Caier giggled and said, "Zhang FangFang has taken a liking to Yuan. Don't tell me you didn't notice, huh?" Longhaochen was taken aback. "You mean Zhang FangFang and Yuan? It can't be, haven't you forgotten what Yuan said before?" Caier only displayed such expressions in front of longhaochen. He made a playful face and said, "Can you really believe what she said? Clearly, Yuan doesn't like those guys in our squad who said it on purpose. Don't be fooled by her and Air's tough exteriors. In reality, they're just good friends. After our big battle at Jinan Pass, you were seriously injured and unconscious. I happened to overhear Air asking about the situation of Yang Wenjiao from another squad." Longhaochen suddenly realized. "I see. We can't control such matters. Let's just go with the flow, as long as they're happy." Caier suddenly said, "From now on, unless there are special circumstances, don't let Yating reveal her true form, and she should remain in her smaller form like before." Longhaochen smiled bitterly and said, "I was afraid you would misunderstand, so I didn't dare to tell you earlier." Caier chuckled and said, "Misunderstand what? She's an elemental spirit. Even if she has a physical form, she's still made of energy. Why would I misunderstand her?" Longhaochen was taken aback and said, "Then why did you ask her to shrink?" Caier explained, "That's different. Her appearance is so cool, and you kept staring at her. You were starting to pick up bad habits." Longhaochen chuckled and said, "Then why don't you dress like that for me to see? Let's see if you won't pick up bad habits. PFF, you've really picked up bad habits." Just as Longhaochen reached out to embrace her, Caier swiftly dodged away. Ever since the passionate scene in Dream Paradise, Caier had been unwilling to share a bed with Longhaochen. At most, they practiced together sitting on the bed. Longhaochen didn't insist, and he even felt a bit hesitant about embracing Caier in bed like they used to. That day's events made them realize they were no longer children. Even though they were deeply in love, they still didn't have a formal commitment. Longhaochen was afraid of hurting Caier, and Caier was shy. As for how long this state would last, they didn't know themselves. The return to Holy City wasn't just for Longhaochen and Zhang FangFang's demon hunting squads. Commander level number 22 demon hunting squad led by Lu Shi, as well as the demon hunting squad led by Yang Wenjiao and Duan Yi, returned together as if it had been planned. With this arrangement, during the return journey, several demon hunting squads were dispersed. Lin Xin enthusiastically went over to Lu Shi's side to accompany Li Xin. Longhaochen's team, on the other hand, had two unexpected guests, Zhang FangFang and Yang Wenjiao. Zhang FangFang was steady and sincere in his demeanor, and had a rather honest personality. He didn't talk much, but he followed Wang Yuanyuan around every day. No matter how Wang Yuanyuan tried to drive him away, annoyed or scolded him, he would just smile and remain silent, silently following her. Eventually, Wang Yuanyuan stopped protesting. She simply let him be. Yang Wenjiao, on the other hand, seemed determined, and he persistently pursued Chen Er. He was much more attentive than Zhang FangFang, often bringing Chen Er delicious food and fun things. Although Chen Er didn't reject his advances, she accepted the things he brought. Longhaochen and Cai Er also enjoyed the relaxed atmosphere of the journey back. Longhaochen didn't impose any restrictions on his companions, because he knew very well that, once they returned to Holy City, the next period of time would be dedicated to intensive training. It was rare to allow everyone to relax. Longhaochen already had a plan for their future actions. However, he didn't need to reveal it to his companions just yet. Although they didn't rush back, they arrived in Holy City after 15 days. Longhaochen also granted his companions an additional 3 days of rest. On the 4th morning, he gathered everyone in the living room on the ground floor of the villa. "It's really comfortable here. It would be great if it could stay like this." Lin Xin lounged on the plush sofa and sighed in contentment. His once long hair was now gone, and he looked much neater. A dark green stubble had grown in its place, making him look like he was wearing a green cap. Shima Xian chuckled from the side. "Brother Medicinal Pills, did you take your medicine today?" Lin Xin's expression stiffened. You're the one who needs to take medicine, you bald idiot. Cai Er and Wang Yuanyuan couldn't help but laugh at the banter. Han Yu asked. Alright, stop fooling around, Captain, what are our plans for the future? Although he was only longhaochen Squire Knight, he was one of the strongest in the team. He was also the oldest in the team, and after shedding his previous arrogance, he had become more composed, deeply understanding the essence of a guardian knight. Longhaochen smiled and said, During this journey to Jinan Pass, we faced many dangers, but thanks to everyone's efforts, our gains were substantial. However, we've all just obtained our spirit furnaces or composite spirit furnaces, and it will take time for us to integrate them properly. We'll continue our training in the Tower of Eternity, starting with each of you reaching the upper limit of 5,000 spiritual energy. Then we'll attempt to clear the remaining levels of the Tower of Eternity's first floor. Hopefully, there will be methods to directly increase our spiritual energy later on, once we clear the remaining levels of the first floor. I believe our abilities will have integrated well, then we'll promote to the martial level and continue to undertake new missions. Everyone nodded as they listened to Longhaochen's words. It could be said that the past year had been the most significant in terms of their training progress, especially within the Tower of Eternity. Their spiritual energy had soared at an astonishing rate. If it weren't for the process of training there, their spiritual power would never have been able to reach 4,000 in such a short time, let alone breaking through to the 6th rank. You should know that the average age of 6th rank experts in the Alliance is 37, while the average age of Commander level number 21 Demon Hunting Squad is less than 20. At this rate of cultivation, just based on their age advantage, they will all become 8th rank experts. As for whether they can break through the 9th rank bottleneck, no one can say for sure. But with their talent, the 9th rank bottleneck might not be able to hold them back. If everyone doesn't have any objections, then we are prepared to enter the Tower of Eternity for training. Longhaochen slowly stood up, the smile on his face gradually fading, replaced by a solemn expression. Captain, please wait a moment. The Paladin Commander said he wants to see you today, Han Yu said to Longhaochen. Ah? The Grand Master wants to see me? Do you know what it's about? Longhaochen asked in confusion. Han Yu chuckled and said, It should be good news. Didn't we contribute 5 crystals from the Demon God Emperor's clan to the Priest Temple and the Alliance? Grand Masters should be rewarding us for our merit. After all, they can't take our things for free. Rewarding merit? Upon hearing this, Lin Sin immediately jumped up from the sofa, his eyes widening, and his pupils seemed to turn into gold coins. Han Yu said impatiently, Look at your greed. Do you even know how many merits you can get for the crystals? From the Demon God Emperor's clan? Lin Sin rubbed his hands and chuckled. Even if I don't know, I can guess some. Those are crystals from 9th rank magical beasts, and they belong to the Demon God Emperor's clan. They should be worth at least 100,000 merits each. Hee, it seems like we're not far from legendary equipment. 100,000, isn't that too much? This even made Longhaochen tempted. Lin Sin proudly said, Why not? Those are 9th rank magical beast crystals, Captain. Try selling one and see. This stuff is extremely rare. I might even be underestimating it with 100,000 merits. Shima Xian chuckled foolishly and said, So we contributed 5 of them. Doesn't that mean we have 500,000 merits? That's amazing. Longhaochen couldn't help but get excited as well. Don't get your hopes up too high. Even though the Alliance doesn't know that I brought you into Dream Paradise, Cai Er and I both completed the Spirit Furnace synthesis inside, and we've gained quite a bit from it. They may not necessarily give us that much in rewards. Lin Sin, what you said about 9th rank crystals reminded me. How about this, you, Yuanyuan, and Shima, the 3 of you go to the trading center and take care of 2 things. One is to find a space attribute crystal suitable for embedding in Yuanyuan's Shield of Giant God. If they have it, consider trading it for crystals or buying it with merits. The other is to find an alchemy master and ask if they can replace the crystal in Shima's power pill of light with one from the Demon God Emperor's clan. Hearing this, Wang Yuanyuan and Shima Xian's eyes lit up. Especially Shima Xian, his power pill of light can definitely have its internal crystal replaced. While Wang Yuanyuan was hopeful, it's true that the space attribute crystals she needs are hard to find.